Okay, so AI in medicine, huh? Specifically, how it's going to totally shake up how doctors learn their craft. It's not just futuristic fantasy anymore. This stuff is already happening. Ready to jump in?
Absolutely. It's an exciting time to be in this field.
We're taking a deep dive into this study. Applications and challenges of implementing artificial intelligence in medical education. Integrative review.
I see quite a mouthful.
Right.
Yeah.
But hey, think of us as your shortcut to understanding this whole thing, all the juicy bits, without having to read the whole thing.
I like it. Makes it very digestible.
Exactly. And speaking of digestible, this deep dive is all about those light bulb moments, those, whoa, I never thought of that takeaways. We're breaking down the best parts in this study, and luckily I've got our expert here to make sense of it all. So first up, the research talked about three main ways AI is being used in medical education right now, starting with learning support. Imagine every med student having their own personal tutor, like 24/7.
And not just any tutor, one that can actually figure out how you learn best, what you're struggling with, and adapt to that.
Yeah, like having an AI guardian angel for med school, right? The study even talks about AI helping students master ECG interpretation. Remember those squiggly lines?
Oh, I remember those well.
AI could be giving you instant feedback, walking you through it all, making sure you really get it.
What's fascinating is AI can see things even seasoned doctors might miss. Imagine an AI watching a student doing a simulated surgery. It wouldn't just be grading the technical stuff, but picking up on tiny hand tremors that could mean stress or exhaustion.
Wow, that's incredibly detailed. It really makes you realize how powerful this tech is. And it's not just about feedback, right? It's understanding the why behind what a student is doing.
Precisely. It can analyze those subtle cues and provide insights that would be difficult for a human observer to catch.
Okay, so moving on to the next big thing, assessment. Remember those massive stacks of exams?
Oh, don't remind me.
AI could be a total game changer for that.
Absolutely. AI can go through student work in a way that's, well, impossible for humans. And not just multiple choice, we're talking complex medical scenarios, looking at how decisions are made, even predicting how someone might perform down the line based on the data.
So we're talking potentially fairer grading, getting results back faster, and personalized feedback on a huge scale.
Potentially, yes. It has the potential to revolutionize how we evaluate and provide feedback to students.
That's massive.
Okay.
Last but not least, let's talk about curriculum review.
Hmm.
Building a med school curriculum is like this huge puzzle, making sure everything fits just right. AI can be a big help there.
Think of AI as a master organizer that can look at tons of data to find gaps in the curriculum, see how effective it actually is, and even suggest improvements based on how students are doing and what they're saying.
It's like having an AI consultant come in and say, hey, here's how you can make your program even better.
Exactly. It can analyze data from various sources, like student performance, feedback surveys, and even emerging trends in healthcare, to provide valuable insights.
So it's not just about making things easier, it's about making medical education the best it can be. Yeah.
Exactly. The goal is to leverage AI to create a more effective, efficient, and engaging learning experience for future physicians.
We've been talking about all this cool stuff AI can do in medical education, and it's easy to get caught up in the hype.
Oh, absolutely. The possibilities seem endless.
But like with anything new, we got to look at the challenges too, right?
Of course, there are always challenges to consider.
That's what makes this research so interesting. It doesn't just focus on the good stuff, it asks the tough questions.
It takes a balanced perspective.
Exactly. So one of the first hurdles they talk about is actually proving that AI is worth it. It's not enough for an AI tool to just exist. It has to be better than the old ways of doing things. And to prove that you need those hardcore studies, which I imagine are pretty tough to do in medical education.
You're right. It's not as simple as just releasing a new app and seeing if people like it.
Right. You're dealing with real students, real patients. The stakes are high.
Precisely. We're talking about comparing groups of students, some using AI, some not, and then seeing how they do over time. It gets complicated.
Yeah, it's not always a clear this is better kind of
Yeah.
answer. So yeah, proving that AI actually helps students and ultimately patients, that's a big challenge. What other things did the researchers point out?
Well, another big one is making sure this AI is trustworthy. These systems, they need a ton of data to work, right? The more the better, generally.
Makes sense. It has to learn from something.
Exactly. But with education, that data often includes some pretty sensitive stuff about students.
Like grades, evaluations, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it could be even more sensitive depending on what the AI is being used for. So we need to make sure that student data is being handled responsibly and ethically with full transparency.
So students know what's happening with their data and have a say in it.
Absolutely. It's about finding a balance between powerful technology and protecting people's rights. You can't have one without the other.
I like that. So we've talked about challenges proving AI works, making
Mm.
sure the data part is ethical. But then there's this whole other aspect, right? The human element of being a doctor.
That's a big one.
Because AI is great at crunching numbers, seeing patterns, but medicine is about way more than that, right?
It's about connecting with patients on a human level.
It's empathy, communication, all those things that make a doctor someone you can trust. Can AI really teach that?
That's the million-dollar question. It can definitely help. For example, AI can give students more chances to practice communication skills and offer feedback on how they interact with patients.
Kind of like a virtual coach for bedside manner.
Exactly. But can it fully replace a real compassionate doctor as a mentor, someone who guides students through all the ups and downs of med school? That remains to be seen.
It's like trying to replicate the human touch. And that's something AI hasn't quite mastered yet.
Exactly. There's still a lot we need to understand about the interplay between technology and human interaction, especially in a field as nuanced as medicine.
So we've got these challenges, proving AI's worth, the ethical use of data, and then this human element. Seems like a lot to figure out.
It's a complex landscape, that's for sure.
But let's not forget about why we're even talking about this. The potential is huge. What are some of the reasons to be optimistic about AI in medical education?
Well, for one, we have a real opportunity to bridge the gap between medicine and technology. Right now, you've got doctors who may not be totally comfortable with all the tech stuff.
And then you've got the tech people who might not get all the ins and outs of being a doctor, right?
Precisely. But imagine a future where those two worlds merge. Doctors and engineers working together to build AI tools that fit seamlessly into medical training.
Doctors bringing their real-world experience to the table, and the engineers making sure the tech actually works. That's a powerful combination.
Absolutely. You could have collaborative design teams, AI courses built right into the curriculum, maybe even dual degrees combining medicine and AI.
Wow. So we're talking about a whole new breed of medical professionals.
Exactly. This kind of collaboration could lead to some really groundbreaking stuff in medical education.
It's like we're breaking down the walls between these two fields and creating something entirely new. It's pretty exciting when you think about it.
It is an exciting time to be a part of this.
So we've got this potential for some serious collaboration. But how does this impact the doctors of tomorrow? Like, will using AI change how they actually practice medicine?
That's a great question to consider.
Will AI-powered education create doctors who are even better at diagnosing, creating treatment plans, even just being better with their patients?
Those are all possibilities.
Something to think about, right? We'll be back in a moment to unpack that thought and what it all means for you. So before the break, we were kind of geeking out a little about how AI could actually change the game for future doctors.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Totally. But let's bring it back down to earth for a second.
Back to reality.
Exactly. How does any of this affect, like, the average person, someone listening to this right now? If AI is changing how doctors learn, what does that mean for them when they go to the doctor's office?
Now you're hitting the nail on the head. Because it's bigger than just the technology itself, it's about how it transforms the whole healthcare experience. Imagine walking into your doctor's appointment and they're able to give you a faster, more accurate diagnosis.
Because their training was basically supercharged with AI from day one.
Exactly. Or think about personalized treatment plans, totally tailored to you based on the latest research and your own medical history. That's powerful stuff.
It makes you realize that AI isn't just some abstract thing. It's about to get real personal.
And the thing is, you don't need to be a doctor or a tech whiz to understand what's going on here. Just look around. AI is already everywhere.
It's true. It's in the things we watch, the stuff we listen to. It's kind of mind-boggling.
It's becoming increasingly integrated into our daily lives. And that's exactly why we need to be having these conversations, everyone, not just the experts. Thinking critically about the potential, the good and the bad. It's up to all of us to make sure we're using this technology responsibly.
Totally agree. So we've covered a lot of ground. The current uses of AI in medical education, the challenges, the amazing potential, and even how it might change things for us as patients.
We've barely scratched the surface.
Right. This research paper is just one piece of the puzzle. This conversation is far from over.
Absolutely. There's so much more to discover and discuss.
Which is exactly what we want you to do. Keep that curiosity going. We explored whether AI could help personalize learning.
The possibilities are endless, really.
For real. So, What if education, not just for doctors, but for everyone, could be tailored to how each of us learns best? It's a question worth pondering. As always, we've got that research paper linked in the episode description if you want to explore further.
Don't be afraid to dive in.
Exactly. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.